So let's start the session, guys. So we are actually in the information system in digital environment subject, and we already completed the 100 percentage of this completion of this chapter one actually, where we have discussed about several things. Now you know the learning outcomes very well, and you must get ready for the questions. Differentiate the data from information. You have to know the eight quality of information. You must describe it, and you have to identify the components like elements of information systems, and you have to describe it, right? As well as you have to explain the reason behind the widespread adoption of information systems. Like you have to talk about inventory management is increased, you have to talk about CRM, customer relationship management, you have to talk about how we are storing the data, how we are communicating, how we are collaborating, how it is improving the responsiveness in the businesses. So a lot of things you can talk about here. As well as efficiency and effectiveness means always you have to remember efficiency, you have to talk about how it is reducing the cost. Effectiveness means how well we can achieve our organization goals. As well as how can you do data analysis for decision making. There are a lot of tools like Power Business Intelligence, right? And you can use big data to analysis and get some informed decision making, right? There are a lot of ICT tools that we have discussed, and you must know about PIM, personal information management, where you can manage your contacts, calendars, reminders, to-do list, emails, so a lot of things. As well as you must know there's some tools, what kind of softwares will do the job. So that's all about 10% of the syllabus, and we have done all the past papers related to the chapter one, and I hope so you got a confident that you can gain the 10%, 10 marks, 100% from the entire syllabus. So, my dears, in today's session, right? So, especially in today's session, we are gonna focus to this chapter two, that is information technology infrastructure, right? We're gonna talk about the infrastructure, actually, infrastructure, right? IT is all about the infrastructure, no? I said about softwares, hardwares, networks, like that. We are going to talk about infrastructure. Let's assume you are running a store, right? Like a small garment shop. So every morning you used to struggle with some handwritten bills and lost inventory records, and customer orders are confused. One day your friend who works at, let's say, in Dialog company, he suggested, hey, you need a proper IT infrastructure. But you confused and you asked, what is this IT infrastructure? And he said, right, this is the question most of the people are asking. But in the end of this chapter, you will understand how technology works behind the scenes in every businesses. From a small shop in your neighborhood to giant companies like Keels, Cargills, they are how using the IT, the infrastructure, right? So that's the actual meaning of the IT infrastructure, my dears. We will learn about this. And let's see our learning objectives. By the end of the chapter, you will be able to do these six things. The first one is you have to identify and describe the role of each component of organization's IT infrastructure. So that's most wanted topic. So you have to identify, not only identify, you have to describe the role of each component of IT infrastructure, right? Already we have seen six elements of information system. That is something we are mentioning for the information system. So here we are going to talk only for the IT infrastructure. There are some components. We will learn about this. What's the meaning of IT infrastructure? What are the components and how to describe it, right? That's the first learning objective. And the second learning objective is you have to explain different purposes of mobile computing devices, right? So I will explain to you what's the meaning of mobile computing devices, what are the examples of mobile computing devices, why we are using this in the current business context. Let's identify that later. And the third one is identify the importance of software and differentiate between application software forms. There are softwares, my dears, as well as we must know why we need software itself first. and and there are a lot of types of softwares available. In that types we will study about application softwares, you know and system software like that. So we will learn about the objectives at the end of the chapter, as well as we will identify what are the importances of the application softwares, and we have to compare the advantages and disadvantages of cloud storage versus traditional versions. Most of the people are nowadays, they are using cloud system, right? We are using cloud based software systems because we must store the information in the cloud. So if there is any problems, any kind of a disaster is happening, we can take the backup. Even we can change the computer. Simply we can log in the information and get the information. That's some simple. So we will talk about what are the means of cloud storage, who are the providers, and what's the benefit it's going to give you. Like that, we will discuss. At the same time, the fifth objective is explain how to obtain network and internet connectivity for corporate and individuals. For corporate means for businesses, because we need internet, right? We need network. There are a lot of network providers, internet service providers in Sri Lanka. So we must understand, and you must know the procedure. How can we obtain the best internet connection that is available for our use cases? Sometimes you need a good upload speed, you need some good download speed, so you have to focus on some factors. So we will see that, as well as you have to identify the key factors for selecting the database management system, DBMS. I will introduce you about this, right? We will identify some key factors for selecting a database. It is a cloud based or traditional based. What are the factors you have to consider? So these are the learning outcomes, my dear. This is a very most important area, and it consists of 25% of your syllabus. It means you can expect 25 marks from this unit only, right? That much, it's very important. All right. So let's begin with IT infrastructure from you. And I have analyzed some papers, and we have to complete the papers also. Right. So let's talk about what is IT infrastructure. So infrastructure means, my dears, I already explained to you, in a country, we must have infrastructure. It means we must have some good harbor system, some, airport systems. We must have some good communication system, road network, transportation system. Then only business people can come and invest, right? That is actually the infrastructure of the economy. Like that, we will have this IT infrastructure. So the IT infrastructure is means, my is it's a skeleton and organs of a human body. A skeleton, right, in our body, as well as some organs in our human's body. Like that. But for a company's case, company's technology, just like your body needs some bones, some muscles, heart, brain. So it will work together. Like that, my dears, a company needs computers, software, people, so we can make everything work very smoothly. So the IT infrastructure is equal to a shared technology resources. We are going to share the technology resources that provide the platform for companies' information system application, right? That's the meaning of IT infrastructure, right? So the components it's include is there are hardware, software, as well as services. It means consulting. So we will see a lot of components. For the moment, I will explain about the hardware. You know about hardware, right? I don't think we need explanation for this. I think we have internet connection issues for the moment. Give me a second. Right. So there are components. So components in the sense what are included in the IT infrastructure. As I mentioned earlier, my dears, it's all about hardware. You know about hardware, right? Hardware systems. And in the IT, there will be softwares as well as we can talk about the services also. Like we have to do consulting, education, training, right? So these are the IT infrastructure. You know, you can remember the six elements of information system. The hardware, software is also there, but we cannot include, procedures. We cannot include data like that in the information system. We can tell about this hardware, software, services, right? So now I think you got a very good understanding. So let's say, my dear, some examples to get a point here. Let's say you are running a small catering businesses in Kandy, and let's say it's called Fatima's Kitchen, right? When you started, you used a notebook to write the orders, your personal phone calls are mixed with the business calls. Your home is as a kitchen. Now your business grew. You needed a proper computers to track the customers' orders, some proper billing softwares, right? A website for online orders. You must need a good internet connection, a delivery tracking systems, whether you have your deliveries, delivered to the customers on time or not. So all these things together become your IT infrastructure. That's the technology foundation that's helping your businesses to run, right? That's what I'm mentioning here. The IT infrastructure is a shared technology resources that provide the platform for companies' information system applications, right? It means just like a three-wheeler needs engine, wheels, fuel to run, a business also needs computers, software, internet to operate in today's world, right? So I hope so you understood the components now about softwares, hardwares, right? About services, right? We have to provide some services now, right? So let's talk about the scope now, shared across the company and shared across the entire business functions, right? So sometimes it's shared across the company, sometimes shared across the entire business functions, the IT infrastructure. We have to share entire company, our IT infrastructure. That's all about the meaning of IT infrastructure, right? Do you have any questions? Right? So then let's move to the purpose of IT infrastructure. Why we need the IT infrastructure in our businesses? Because purpose is most important in IT infrastructure, right? Why do we need all this technology? What problems does it solve? Right? Let's understand it. So IT infrastructure delivers some essential IT based services to users within an organization. It is equipped with, right? It is equipped with data centers, networks, some related equipments, right? So that's all about the purpose of IT infrastructure. We need it. It's an essential thing, right? It's an essential thing. It's not an optional thing. It's actually an essential thing. It delivers some essential IT-based services to users within the organization. It will equip with some, data centers. We will learn about the data centers now. Data centers as well as some networks, right? We need some network as well as some equipment. Actually, we need equipment, no? Otherwise, we cannot get the connectivity. So, this is actually the purpose of the IT infrastructure, right? It means the technology provides some important services that's helping people to do their work in better way. It's like an electricity, my dears. Just like electricity powers all our home appliances, no? That's how the IT infrastructure power all your business activities. You know what about means by the data centers? So data centers means, my dear, there are some special rooms, right? Like this, okay? That special rooms with powerful computers, powerful server computers, right? That store and process all your company's information. That is data centers, right? Let's say in Dialogue's data center in Colombo, right, it's like a huge library, but instead of books, it has millions of customer records all over Sri Lanka. Customer records. They are called details, right? Their internet usage data all stored very safely in computer servers. They must have some servers, right? The server rooms, that is the data centers. Sometimes the big companies like Google, they are having their data centers in like in acres. Just like a petty field, they are having in a lot of acres the data centers, because not only Sri Lanka, they are storing the data about entire world, right? So imagine like this: if Skilled Supermarket has 100 shops across all over Sri Lanka, they can't keep separate records in each shop, my dears. It's not possible. There will be so much duplication. So their data center, let's say in Colombo, stores everything. What's sold in Jaffna, it is there in the data center. What's stock in the goal, it is there in the data center. What prices everywhere is in one secure place, that is data centers, right? So that is actually the part of the IT infrastructure. As well as let's talk about the network here. You can understand from this picture very clearly. These are the connections that let different computers, right? Different computers and devices, they can talk to each other. Let's say the story of Cargill's distribution, right? Let's see the story of Cargill's distribution network. Imagine, Cargill's has shop in Colombo, Kandy, Galle, Jaffna, a lot of places, right? Their network is like the roads, like a roads. It's connecting these cities, but for a data. Let's say shops in Galle sells 50 bottles of Melbourne milk powder. This information travels through the network like a three-wheeler on a road, and it will reach to the head office in Colombo, and the head office sees, okay, Galle needs more stock, and sends message through network to warehouses. So warehouse will prepare the deliveries to the Galle area. So all this happens in seconds through their network. That is the network, my dears. Right? We will talk about later very detail. So you must understand the network. As well as the related equipments means all the supporting devices that needed to make everything work. Let's say you are doing some mobile shop, and your main components are: you have computers for your billing purpose, you have internet router for the connectivity, you have printer for printing the receipts. So what are the related equipments here? This is your main equipments. What I told you, the computers, internet, printers are the main equipments. What are the related equipments here? You have UPS, uninterrupted power supply. When the electricity goes, right? That's common in Sri Lanka, no? Very common in Sri Lanka. When electricity goes, the UPS keeps computers running for at least for 30 minutes. That is uninterrupted power supply. You can serve your works and everything. That is related equipment. That's not a main equipment. Let's say you have scanner to scan the customer ID copies, right? So that's a related equipment. You have barcode reader to read the product codes quickly. You have some backup hard disks to serve all the data for safety. You have cooling fan, let's say, to keep your computer from overheating. That is important in our hot weather condition in Sri Lanka, right? As well as voltage stabilizer to protect from power fluctuations. Like that, my dear. These are related equipments, not the main equipments. Let's say in your shop there was a sudden power cut, right? You are billing for a customer who was in a hurry to catch the train, right? So you're going to, thanks to the UPS, the computer kept working. You complete the bill, and the customer, caught the train on time. So the customer become a loyal friend for you. So these are related equipment. So the networks, data centers, these are the interconnected parts. So the purpose of the IT infrastructure, why we are having, it will serve or deliver some essential IT-based services to the users within an organization. It will be with network, it will be with data centers, related equipments. All right. So now let's talk about the key elements. Key elements, the IT infrastructure frameworks, they includes physical hardware. As I mentioned earlier, the elements are physical hardwares, data storage and retrieval system. Retrieval system means when we need the data, we need to take that. Legacy interfaces and softwares, as well as hiring, training, testing, upgrades, and maintenance facilities. So these are the IT infrastructure framework includes, right? So let's talk about one by one. Let's talk about the physical hardware and facilities, right? So physical hardware and facilities means, my dears, this is a actual physical things. You can touch it, you can see it, like this servers, like these monitors, like these laptops, right? Physical hardware, actual physical things and places where the technology lives. Let's say in Apico Mega Store, they are having hardwares. What kind of hardwares? They are having, let's say, 20 computers for cash counters. That's a hardware, no? 5 computers for the accounts department. That's a hardware, no? They are having two servers for storing the data in the Apico center. Servers like these computers, they are connecting the all their data, as well as they are having 30 barcode scanners at the cash counters to scan the products. That's a hardware, no? And let's say 20 receipt printers, it will print the receipt, as well as they are having 50 CCTV cameras across the shop. That's a hardware, no? They're having one main Wi-Fi router and 10 Wi-Fi access points, right? That's all our hardwares. So what kind of facilities it will give? You know, the server room with air conditioning. They are having the facilities like a hardware, right? You know, I talk about hardwares as well as let's talk about facilities now because I didn't highlight the word. I'm going to highlight it. Physical hardware and facilities. Facilities also one of the element. What's the meaning of facilities, my dears? Facilities means you are having a server room, separate room with the air conditioning because the servers get very hot. So that is a facility still in the elements. Let's say you have a UPS room, separate room with the backup batteries. That's a facility. You have network cable room connecting all your departments. That's a facility. There is a security office. They are monitoring the CCTV, as well as some IT support office for technical problems. So the server room is like the heart of the RPCOM ideas. If it stops, everything stops. That's why it has the air conditioning running 24 hours, 7 days. There are fire extinguishers. If there is anything happen, they are using the fire extinguisher. There are some special locked door because only IT manager has the key. It's very important. Backup generators for power cuts. So that's how the physical hardware and facilities we need as a component of the infrastructure. And let's talk about the data storage and retrieval system, right? Data storage means, my dears, we have to store our data, right? The systems that serve the information and it will help you to find it again quickly whenever you need it. Let's say, you know, you are managing a grand palace wedding hall. Let's say that's a business name, okay? The wedding hall in Colombo area. And you handle bookings for the weddings and parties and for the corporate events you are managing. So your data storage systems is like this. You are keeping your customer details, their names, their phone numbers, their addresses, let's say for around 500 plus customers. You know, you are keeping the data of the booking records, which dates are booked, which are free. And you are keeping a payment history, who paid the advance amount, who paid the full amount, who has balances. Let's like our organization we are keeping. And even details like what are the menu they have chosen, what are the decoration preferences they have taken, the number of guests, right? As well as the vendor arrangements information. Let's say the caterer contracts, the food people supplying the caterer contract, and the decorator contracts, the photographer details. You have the vendor information, as well as you are keeping the photos, the pictures of the past events. So it will help new customers to choose how it will be after all the decoration. So if you don't have the system, my dears, you kept everything in, let's say, in the registers and physical files. Finding one customer's information, it took 15 to 20 minutes just searching through the papers. But if you have the system, you just type the customer name or the phone number, you will get all the information in within 2 seconds, right? Let's say one customer called one day and he asking, I booked your hall last year for my daughter's wedding. Can you tell me which caterer we used? The food was excellent. I need their information. You know, if you don't have the proper system, data storage and retrieval system, this would take hours to find. But now, over the call, right? While she or he is in the call, you can search, okay, You typed the name, okay, the name is Farhan, okay, you typed in your computer and found the booking, okay, it's from 8 months ago. And within 10 seconds, you told, yes, you used this kind of caterer services, this is the number. So your customer amazed, right? Even for several years, we can get the information quickly. That is data storage. We need that, right? So let's talk about the third elements, that is the legacy systems, right? The legacy systems, the legacy interfaces and softwares. The legacy in the sense what? Old systems that companies still use because they work well, even though they are not modern. That is legacy interfaces and softwares. What is the legacy means, my dears? It's like, think of your grandmother's old recipe book. It's old actually. The pages are allowing, but the recipes are perfect and everyone loves the food made from that recipe book. Similarly, the legacy software is old software, but still it's valuable software. Let's say about Bank of Ceylon, right? The Bank of Ceylon, let's say in Gold branch, they still use some software from 15 years ago for their core banking operation. 15 years. Why? Because it has records of millions of customers. It's tested and it's very reliable. It's never crashes. The staffs know how to use it perfectly. If they change it, it would be very expensive as well as very risky. But they also have some new software for internet banking, mobile banking, SMS alert, but they're keeping some legacy interfaces and softwares also. So the challenge is here, my dears, making old software work with a new software. That's a challenge. It's like, making your old grandmother's old radio to play music from your new smartphones. They need a connector, right? Like that, right? Let's say you are working in an IT department at a Bank of Ceylon. Your job is like to ensure when customers use the new mobile banking app, it can still talk to the old core banking systems. Let's say, for an example, my dears, BOC, they have, Bank of Ceylon, they have recently introduced a new app called BOC Flex. But there is a old app, it's called BOB app. That's very frustrated. People are complaining about it. That's not working. But the new app is doing a very good job. But still, it talks to the old app when we are registering our information. It's getting the information from the old app, right? So it's like a bridge, the interface between the old and new, right? It's like being a translator between single and English language, like that, right? So there are legacy interfaces and softwares. And let's talk about the hiring, training, testing, and doing upgrades and maintenance facilities that also include in the IT infrastructure. It means the people activities as well as the processes it needed to keep our IT infrastructure running smoothly. Let's say, my dears, in Kiel supermarket IT department, there will be hiring, no? They will hire the people. They will hire the people, right? Let's say Keels needs some IT staff for their all branches. They hire, no? They will hire system administrators, network engineers, supporting staff. They will hire. They will post a job like need IT technician for Candy branch. Salary is, let's say, around 45,000. And you are from Candy and you applied and you got selected. That hiring process of IT people also under the IT infrastructure. Not only that, providing training. Let's say new staff like you need training. They have to learn about, let's say, Keel's billing systems, inventory management, security procedures. Let's say your training period is almost 2 weeks at the head office of Colombo, right? In the first day of your training, so senior engineer taught you, right? This is our point of sale system. Means billing system. If cash counter computers hangs, you have 5 minutes to fix it. Otherwise, customers will complain, right? Like that. As well as testing. Testing means before you install any new software, you must test it. Let's say Keels want to add some new online order feature. So there will be a testing team. They have to try to break the system, find the problems, right? So let's say you are testing a team ordered 100 items at once to see if system crashes or not. If it didn't, the system passed the test, no? As well as some upgrades. What about upgrades? Making the system better over time. Let's say your Keel's billing system, it's upgraded from version 2.0 to 3.0. You are introducing some new features like faster scanning, automatic discount calculation, loyalty points. So before upgrade, scanning 20 items took 2 minutes. But now after you have upgraded with new features, scanning the 20 items takes only 45 seconds. So that is upgrades, my dears. The versions of softwares. As well as maintenance. Regularly you have to check up and fix if there is any problem. Like, servicing our three-wheeler, servicing our van, our vehicle for every 3 months or something. Daily you have to manage, you have to check if all computers are working or not. Weekly you have to maintain, backup all the data to prevent some losses. Monthly you have to maintain, like you have to clean the dust from the computer, so because dust is the enemy of computers. And here you have to do maintenance like replace the old equipment. So like that, my dears, these all are under the IT infrastructure framework. So not only hardware, the facilities we arrange for the hardware, the storage, the retrievals, the interfaces between the old softwares and the new softwares, right? The hiring, training, testing, and upgrades and maintenance facilities, all of these are the key elements. So the key takeaway is IT infrastructure provides facilities, right, for serving the customers, working with vendors, managing the internal business and function. That's a key takeaway you have to. So these are the key elements of IT infrastructure, right? I hope so. You got a very good understanding. Any questions so far? Right. So let's move to the area components of IT infrastructure. So we talked about IT infrastructure framework, my dears, the key elements of the framework. Now, actually, we are going to deal with the components of IT infrastructure, right? So there are 7 major components. This is what you have to write if they ask the IT infrastructure components, right? So these are computer hardware, operating systems, enterprise software, data management, network or telecommunication platforms and internet platforms and consulting and systems integration services. So this is the actual 7 major components, 7 major building blocks of IT infrastructure, right? It's like a different parts of a house. In a house we will have foundation, that's a separate parts. We will have walls, that's a separate parts. We will have roof, some windows, doors, electricity, water supply. Each part is very essential, no? Like that, this is the IT infrastructure major components. So I already introduced you about these computer hardware platforms, my dears. Let's learn about very specifically. So in computer hardware, it will include computer hardware like servers and client devices. What this means? It means, my dears, the physical computers and equipment. It will do the actual computing work, like the engine in a three-wheeler. That's what makes everything move, right? In the engine, like that. The computer hardware platforms. It includes servers and client devices. What this means? So I will explain about servers, my dear. Servers in the sense, these are some powerful computers, very powerful computers that serve information to other computers. Like a waiter serves food to customers, no? Like that, server computers means it's storing all the information and it will serve the information when other computers ask server request. So client devices in this sense, these are normal computers, laptops, tablets, phones that employee use. So when the employee using the website and they're asking some particular device, particular information, and they are searching, that search request actually hit the server computers. The server computers have the information, and it will retrieve the information to the client devices. Let's say some story in dialogue office. Let's say server room, right? It's like a kitchen in a restaurant, my dear. Server rooms in the dialogue office, like a kitchen in the restaurant. There are 10 powerful server computers, big computers. Each server, let's say it costs almost around 500,000. The server computers are running 24 hours, 7 days, never stop. It stores all the customer data. It handles all the internet traffic. That is server computers, right? So the server computers are special computers. We are keeping our all the information there in a separate room. And client devices, it's like a dining tables where the customers eat. That is client devices. Like, in the Dialog company, there are 200 desktop computers for staff, 50 laptop for the managers. So each staff members, they are using these client devices to access the information from the server computers. So let me tell you a story about how it's worked together, the server computers and client devices. Imagine you are working in a Dialog customer service. The customer calls with a problem and he is saying, right, about some problem. Okay, you are logging into the client computer because you are equipped with a client computer, right, a desktop on your table in your desk, and you types, okay, so this is your customer phone number, no? Okay, you are typing the customer phone number. Now the computer, your client computer, the laptop you have used or the desktop you have used, it will send the request to the server computer in the server room. It might be in cloud based, or it might be in the Colombo, or it might be in a separate room in the same shop. That's different story. So it will send the request to the server computer. So the servers automatically search through the millions of records. There will be millions of records of customers in the server computer. So it will search the particular phone number. It will find that customer information within 2 seconds, my dears. Within 2 seconds. And after that, it will send back to the client's devices, your desktop computers, through the internet connection or through the network you have connected. Then now you see the complete history of the customers and you can solve the problems. If there is no servers, you need to search through thousands of files manually. That is impossible. So that is including the hardware platforms, right? Computer hardware, servers and client devices, as well as the computers itself. You know about computers, right? Computers are not only the laptop, these all types of computing devices used in the organization, we call it as a computers. There are a lot of types in computers, my dears. There are laptops, you have to move around, you have to carry for meetings, so you have to keep laptops. Desktop computers means, it sits at desks, it sits at tables all day, right? Bigger screens, comfortable for long work. And you might have tablets, right? It's for inventory checking, so the staff can carry that, easy to carry, right? And you can sometimes have smartphones, that is also computers. You can use by delivery drivers, track deliveries using GPS, right? So that is all about the computers, not only the laptops, okay? All the computing devices, as well as what it includes is data servers. As I mentioned earlier, my dears, data servers means there are some special buildings, rooms. It's designed to house many servers and store huge amounts of data very safely. It's like, the server is like a one book, my dears. A data center is like a massive library. So you must understand, servers are simply one book, but data center is like a library with a millions of books. So data centers is having a lot of servers. It's in acres, right? So let's talk about the switches, hubs, and routers, right? Before that, I will tell you some example for the data centers. My dears, Sri Lanka Telecom, they have the data centers. Let's say Lotus Tower, they are having data centers. What's inside there? In the data centers, maybe they will have 500 plus servers. 500 plus servers, super powerful computers. Each server, they has, let's say, thousands of hard drives there. The total storage almost around, they can keep information from 10 million people. Let's say 10 million people information. So the data centers always, it should be with 18 to 20 Celsius. There will be a cold, like an air conditioned room. We must keep it, otherwise it will generate so much heat, right? And also you have some fire suppression system, special gas that puts out the fire without water. Some backup power generators. You have the security guards are always there for 24 hours, 7 days. You have biometric access. Only authorized people can enter using their fingerprint to the data centers. Why this much of security needed for these data centers, my dears? Imagine if this data center catches fire or gets damaged, millions of customers' data lost. Telephone services stop for the telecom data centers, right? The internet service stopped, the government services affected, banking affected, hospitals affected. So, my dear, building such a data center, it will cost almost around 2 to 3 billions, not millions, billions of rupees, right? So let's say you are an IT student, right? Your class visited the SLT data center. What do you show? The rows, the rows and rows of blinking servers look like a science fiction movie, right? There will be a loud humming sound from the cooling systems. You have to wear some special shoes because sometimes it will prevent some static electricity. You couldn't take your phones inside because of the security. The temperature is so cold, you need some jacket. Right? Each servers they will label with some numbers. The cables are everywhere. It's neatly organized. Right? So there is a guide. That guide said this room stores of data of 5 million internet users. If we lost this data, imagine the problems. Right? That is the importance of data centers, my dears. You must understand. That's a big picture I have explained to you. And let's talk about the switches, hubs, and routers. What is this? These are devices, that connect computers together and direct the data traffic. Like, the traffic policeman is there now in junctions. They're directing the vehicles like that. This is that. So let's talk about one by one. Let's switches mean simple switches. And let's talk about hubs. Hubs is like it's like receiving the information and it shouts it to everyone. It's very old technology. It's very, very rarely used nowadays. Let's say, imagine in a peta market, you want to tell something to your friend, right? Right? You know, so it's like, you are talking in the speaker. It wastes time and it creates some confusions, right? Everyone will hear everything. We are not using these hubs now, as well as routers in the sense, about it connects different networks together to find the best path for the data to travel. So you don't need much information here, my dears. So you must know switches, hubs, and routers. These are the components of the hardware. So you must know hardware include the server computers, client computers, computing devices, data centers, switches, hubs, and routers. So the key technology I'm going to talk about the important right now. The key technology used is mainframes, right? In the hardware. Mainframes, my dears, it means it used to reliably and securely handle very huge volumes of transaction. Mainframes technology. What's the meaning of mainframe? Mainframe means these are some super powerful computer, right? So these are serving some characteristic. We will analyze that later. So the mainframes technology means, my dears, used to reliably and securely handle huge volumes of transaction. Let's say 2 million, 50 million, 500 million of customers' data. It's like this mainframes computers. It's like, comparing a three-wheeler to a luxury bus, right? While your laptop is like a three-wheeler, very good for few people, but mainframe is like a bus, luxury bus. It can handle thousands of people at once, right? So it analyzes very large quantities of data, not small amount. It's analyzed and it will carry very large quantity of data in mainframe computers. It will handle large workloads in cloud computing centers also. So the characteristics are simple, my dears. It's a big as a refrigerator. This is this much of big, like a refrigerator, even in a small room. We need a small room for that. It will cost almost around 50 to 500 million according to the capacity for the mainframe computers. It can handle millions of transactions per second. For a years of years, it can work without any stopping. Extremely secure, almost impossible to hack. That is, you know, the technology of mainframe computer technology, right? So this is all about this technology, my dears. You must know this is the technology we are using. So normally, my dears, this is a mainframe technology. Most of the, let's say, Bank of Ceylon head office, they are using these mainframe computers. Why? They have to store 10 million customer accounts, 650 branches all over the Sri Lanka, millions of transactions every day, deposits, withdrawal, transfers, ATMs. They cannot afford the system to stop even for 1 minute, my dears. What happens every day? Imagine in today's Monday morning, government salary is credited, 200,000 transactions they have to handle. People withdrawing money, 500,000 transaction only in the morning time. People transferring money, 100,000 transaction. It means not, I'm not talking about the rupees, quantity. And the loans processed, let's say 10,000 transactions, all happening at the same time. So they need this mainframe technology, right? Can you handle this like a regular computers? It will crash immediately. But mainframe computers, they can handle all these very smoothly, like it's nothing for them, right? As well as not only in the Bank of Ceylon, let's say in Sri Lanka Customs Department, every day, hundred of containers arrived at Colombo port. Each container, they need the customs clearance, tax calculation, document verification, payment processing. So you have mainframe computers there. It will check the database of millions of products, calculate the taxes based on the complex rules. It will verify the documents automatically. It will connect to banks for the payments. It will generate some clearance certificates automatically. So they need the processing power. They have to handle 10,000 containers per day, right? So we cannot do manually. If they are going to do manually without mainframe systems, it will take 2 to 3 days per container, right? So that's what we need, this mainframe technology. I hope so you're getting a very good understanding. And now let's move to the other components of this IT infrastructure, that is operating system platforms. You know about this operating system. We call it as OS, right? We need operating system. Most of us are very familiar with this Windows operating system. I'm really very familiar with Mac OS, Macintosh, right? So operating system is like the manager of a computer. It manages all the computer's resources, and it lets the application programs like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, those are application programs. It lets the application programs work. Without Windows operating system or Macintosh, Mac OS, you cannot run the application programs, right? So it's making all your hardware, softwares play together. That's operating systems, right? So let's talk about it very deeply. For client computers, you know about client computers now? So we are using as an employee to request to the server computers. So client computers, the primary operating systems are Windows based operating system. In the world, the Windows operating system is the most used operating system. All right, most used operating system for the client computers is Windows based operating system. Most office computers in Sri Lanka also, they run the Microsoft Windows. That's by Microsoft company. You know, in the Cargill's office, there are 100 computers, right? 95 of them are running on Windows 10 or 11. Only 5 may be running by macOS because of the high level managers. Why the Windows is more popular, my dears? Why the Windows operating system is more popular? It's very easy to use. There are buttons, icons, mouse clicks. Every beginners, even they never used the computer before, can learn it in 1 week. And everyone knows about Windows, right? We taught in schools also, they are talking about Windows computers, not about macOS, because they are not afford to have it. And it's very comfortable. Most softwares, they are working on Windows laptop, Windows operating system. As well as many technicians, they know how to fix the Windows problems, not about macOS problems, right? That's what it is most famous in the client computers. Let's say for the servers computers, it stores millions of data in a separate room, mainframe computers. So what kind of operating system? It's dominated by Windows, Unix, as well as Linux operating systems. So servers are the powerful computers, they are storing the data. They use a different operating system than the regular computers. So they are dominated by, my dears, the first domination is by Windows. There are Microsoft Windows Server. It's not about the normal Windows operating system. It's a special operating system. Microsoft Windows Server. There is a server Windows, server operating system. It's designed specifically for servers. We cannot use this in the client computers like ours. in Apico, Keel, Singer, they are using this Windows Server for their server computers. So it can handle many users at once. Very secure. It's easy to manage for some IT staffs, but it's very expensive. Right? Let's say in Apico head office, they have 5 Windows servers. Server 1, it handles all the sales data. Server 2, it will handle the management of inventory data. Server 3 runs the image system. Server 4 store the customer database. Server 5 backup everything. That is Windows servers. Let's talk about the Unix. This is also dominated. Some companies, they are using these Unix operating systems, right? We call it as a Unix operating systems. This is also one of the operating system for server. It's also very powerful, very stable operating system, I guess. It's almost around 50 plus years, right? It's extremely reliable, very rare to crash, very secure, very expensive, but it's need very expert technicians also. Most of the time, the banks, government departments, large corporation, they are using Unix operating systems, right? Because sometimes the Bank of Ceylon uses the Unix servers because they cannot afford the system crash because people's money at their stake. They need maximum security, right? They are testing this Unix servers for decades, so it's worth the high cost than the Windows operating system for critical operations, right? And let's talk about another server operating system, that is Linux. This is also one of the famous Linux systems. It's free, but the thing is, it's free. It's an open source operating system. It means if you want to install Unix, you have to pay millions of amounts. If you want to use Windows operating system, you have to pay. But Linux is a free server operating system, open source. Anyone can use and anyone can modify. It is so special. Why? It's completely free, no license fees. At the same time, it's very stable and secure. Used by many companies worldwide. Many Sri Lankan IT companies, they prefer Linux because it's free of charge. Let's say you are having a pharmacy, right? With the 10 branches. Your IT guy suggested we can use Windows servers or Linux servers. And he said Windows servers almost it will cost 200,000 per server. 10 servers we need, so almost we need to invest 2 million rupees. But at the same time, that IT guy said we can use Linux servers also. The cost is free, zero. Even you can use for the 10 servers, no problem. The total cost is zero. So as a business owner, okay, we will go for Linux. So you are saving 2 million rupees money, right? You can open 11th branch, 12th branch. How many branches we can open? No problem. So the functions of these operating systems are, my dears, it will manage the hardware resources, right? It will manage the hardware resources. How? How it's going to manage it? It means, my dears, what does an operating system actually do is it will decides which program can use the computer's CPU, memory, hard disk at what level. That is the operating system instruction. Imagine Keel's computer at a rush hour. Let's say it's 6 p.m. Saturday evening. How much rush is there? Keel's is crowded. The computer needs to run the billing software, scan items, print the receipt, accept the card payment. They have to print the loyalty card points. It has to update the inventory. It has to show the advertisement on customer screen, right? It has to play background music all at the same time. So, without an operating systems, the programs are fighting for the computer resources, right? Billing software is asking for memory. Same time, card payment system is asking for the memory. You don't have such a memory, the CPU usage, the GPU usage. So system will crash without operating system. But now if you have a Windows operating systems, that is an intelligent manager. So it manages the hardware resources. Okay, for the billing software, it's most important. So it will give 40% of the CPU usage. For the card payment also, it's very important. It will give you the 30% of the card payment processing software. And it will give you the 15% for the inventory updates. It will give the 10% to the advertisements. It will give the 5% to the music, your CPU. So everything works now smoothly, no? Right? So that's what it's managing the hardware resources actually. as well as it manages activities of the computers, right? These operating systems, my dears, it will schedule some tasks, it will decide some priority, it will manage the file storage. Let's say your computer at your home, you are running some accounting business from your home. Your computer activities are like this. In the morning, you will check the emails for 30 minutes. You will prepare some financial statements for 2 hours, right? You will have a video call with your client for a 1 hour. How your operating system manage, right? Your activity of the computer, it will allocate the fast SSD storage for financial software because it needs speed. It will allocate the regular hard disk for the email storage because it doesn't need the space, speed. And it will manage the network connection for a video call because it prioritizes when the call is on. It will automatically serve your work every 10 minutes. In case of power cut, it will manage your printer when Mohammed prints the reports. Let's say your name is Mohammed. So without this operating system idea, you would have to manually manage all this. It's impossible, right? That's what I'm saying. It manages the activities of the computers as well as it acts as an interface for applications and the users, right? The operating system provides a look and feel, right? That's what the Mac operating systems are. Always they're updating. They're having, I think, macOS Sonoma, macOS Sequoia. Now I think with another name, I can't remember, right? Some fancy name they will have, like that Windows 10, 11, 7, Windows Vista. So these are interfaces. It will provide very look and feel. The desktop, the icons, the start menu, that makes computers usable, right? Before Windows computers, my dears, in the early 1990s period, only black screen with white text. You had to type commands like C colons documents slash accounts April slash report dot doc. Open a single file. You have to write the entire path of the file. Very difficult for the normal people now. After 90s, the Windows operating system is coming. Very beautiful desktop with icons. You can double click the folder to open. You can click the file to open. Easy for everyone, right? So that are the functions of the operating systems. I hope so. You are with me and you are getting a very good understanding. So for servers, we have operating systems separately. For client computers, we have separately. So this is actually, we are talking about the operating platforms, right? So let's talk about the market share statistics of these operating systems briefly, right? Market share means, how popular the servers like Windows, Unix, and Linux. So server operating system, Microsoft Windows servers are almost, they are having the 35 percentage of the operating system market, my dears, right? 35 percentage of the server operating system market for the server computers. So big giant, right? Unix on Linux, 65 percentage of the corporate servers. For business servers, they are having the 65% of the corporate servers network. So Unix or Linux is for business people. So what's the benefit? Is inexpensive, robust open source relative to Unix, right? This is the benefits, right? It's very inexpensive, right? Unix, there are open source. It's not going to cost you much. So let's talk about why Unix and Linux rather than Microsoft Windows. Why we have to keep it, right? So let's say, my dears, scalable. The first thing is scalable. Scalable means you can, it's like, can grow easily as your business grows. Like a rubber band that stretches like that. It is so scalable. Let's say, my dears, in 2010 periods, Dialog had 5 million customers. So they used 10 Linux servers, handled the load comfortably. And yet 2015, after 5 years time, now they have the 10 million customers, from 5 million to 10 million, doubled. Now they have added 10 more Linux servers. Now with the 10 previous ones, they have all 20 servers. They are working together seamlessly. No need to change anything. Let's say in year 2020, after 5 years, now they had 15 million customers. Now they have added 10 more servers. Now these 30 servers working together. So the system scaled smoothly now, right? If they used a different OS, my dear, operating system, they have to replace the entire system. It's very expensive, right? It's like building a house with extra rooms. When your family grows, just open the extra rooms. Don't need to rebuild the entire house. That's what means of scalable, right? So let's talk about the reliability, the reliable, right? This is what people are using this Linux or Unix one. Reliable. What means it works continuously without any crashing, right? There are some old bicycles in our, home, whether it's used by our grandparents or our fathers. It's very reliable. It never breaks down. Like that, my dears, the Windows servers, the average uptime is 99%. 99%. There are 1% crashes occasionally for Windows, but Linux servers average uptime is 99.9%. 0.01% only the crash, almost never crash. That's what it is reliable. More than Windows systems, these Linux and Unix are very reliable, right? But it doesn't sound much, but actually, in a 1 year period, my days, let's say 365 days, Windows servers down for 3.65 days, but Linux only 0.365 days. It means 8.7 hours only, but 3 days to 8.7 hours, that's more, right? Huge loss for the companies. That's the reason. And another one is much less expensive than the mainframe computers, right? If you are going to buy the mainframe computers, that is so much of expensive. But if you are going to have only the server computers with its operating systems, right? So mainframe, it will cost in millions, but Linux, it gives some similar benefit, but at a fraction of a cost, right? Let's say mainframe hardware is almost 50 million. For that mainframe operating system, it costs 10 million. Maintenance you have to do for a 1 year for a 5 million. Total for a 5 years usage, you have to invest almost around 85 million, 8.5 crores. But if you are using a Linux server, let's say multiple servers working together, your hardware with the 20 powerful servers, not a one mainframe computers, but it's cost only 10 million compared to 50 million mainframe computers. The operating system you are using Linux, it's free. No need to spend 10 million for the mainframe hardware softwares. Maintenance not 5 million, just 500,000. So total 5 years only 12.5 million. Let's think about it. 85 million compared to 12.5 million, you can serve almost around 72.5 million, right? So that's much less expensive than the mainframe operating systems, as well as it is compatible with many different processor types, right? There are many processors manufacturers, my dears. There are manufacturers. Linux can run on any type of computer's hardware. Doesn't matter if it is Intel processor or AMD or ARM type of processors or other brands. It doesn't matter. It can run, right? So, my dears, these are the reasons why Unix and Linux operating systems are very famous. And let's say about the client level statistic. It means I'm going to talk about the client level computer statistic. Which one is very famous? So 90% of the PCs use Microsoft Windows. Like client computers means like you and me are using for our daily usage, right? 90% of the PCs, personal computers, use the Microsoft Windows, either 8 or 7 or Windows Vista. That's how the Microsoft Windows is very famous. Why it's so familiar, my dears? Why it's so famous? There are a lot of reasons, right? It's very familiar. The software is available. You can, no need to pay a huge amount. Easily, you can crack the software and you can install, right? Like that, you can maintain it. If you install it one time, you can use it for several years, right? As well as the program stored on servers accessed via internet, right? Actually, the client level statistics say the Microsoft will release the new updates. So it is actually in their servers. You can access and download it via internet and you can use it. And the user data stored on the servers, right? Your data. As well as it's compatible with web browser requirement, right? So you stored programs stored on servers accessed via internet as well as compatible web browser requirement. I hope so. You got a very good understanding. What's the meaning of compatible web browser required means? To access some cloud-based softwares, my dears, you need a browser. Let's say Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Safari in the macOS. These are the browser you have to use it, right? So I hope so. You got a very good understanding for the client level computers, how this operating system is having the market share. And let's talk about the mobile operating systems. It's for your phone, right? So most of the people are using the Android as well as the Android open source operating systems. That's what every mobile company is using, the Android system. It's an open source for mobile devices. We don't need to pay to develop something in the Android. So Android is an open source, freely available operating systems. Any company can adapt it, use it for their purpose, right? So over the smartphones and tablets, they also have operating system, just like computers, right? Android means it's the most popular mobile operating system in Sri Lanka. Not only in Sri Lanka, it is worldwide. It's very open source mobile system. It means Android is free and anyone can use it. It's open source. It means the coding, the code is open for everyone to see and they can modify, right? So I hope so you got an understanding. And it's available for smartphone and tablets, right? Most of the tablets are in Android, and it has become the most popular smartphone platform worldwide, as I said earlier. And compared to iOS, iOS means Apple operating systems. In Apple's mobile operating system for the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, right? Compared to iPhone, iOS is very famous, that is Microsoft one. And most client and server operating systems are graphical user interface, GUI. I'm talking about a very important word, GUI, graphical user interface. What this means? It means, my dears, modern operating systems are use graphics like pictures, icons, buttons instead of just a text. All right. In all the days, my dears, only black screen, white text. You have to type the commands to open one single file. But in after 2020s period, very colorful screens, icons, pictures. You can click with a mouse. You can just copy the file. Right click, select copy. Right click destination, select the paste. Much easier, no? So that's how the GUI systems are having. And based on touch screen technology, most of the smartphones are with a touch screen technology, right? So that's very important. Who is introduced the touchscreen first? But Apple. iPhones are the first phones that is introduced without no keyboard. That's a revolution done by Steve Jobs, right? Then only the other people copied that systems, right? So I hope so you got a very good understanding of this operating system. That is the second element or components of IT infrastructure. Let's talk about enterprise software applications, right? What's the meaning of these enterprise software applications? It means, my dears, these are big, very powerful software systems. I'm talking about software applications, okay? Very powerful software systems that will help the entire companies to run very smoothly. It's like the brain of a company that's coordinating everything, right? So let's learn about this enterprise software application. The major providers are SAP, Oracle. These are like ERP softwares. So SEP is a company's name. They are providing, you can see it in this brand, SEP, right? So they are very big software system. One company is SEP system. SEP means it's a German company, my dear. SEP is a German company. It's a world largest enterprise software company. They will provide very large, huge ERP systems, right? It will make the softwares that manage entire business operations. It means it will manage the marketing, it will manage the operation, it will manage the finance, it will connect the warehouses, it will connect the internet, it will connect the every point of businesses, right? So make softwares that manage the entire business operation. Very powerful but very expensive also. Is used by very largest companies in Sri Lanka only. Let's say Mass Holdings, right? It's a garment company, right? Mass Holdings. They are using, let's say, they're having 50 plus factories, 80,000 plus employees. Their operations are in India, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Jordan. They are supplying their garments to the, Nike, Adidas, Victoria's Secret. Some international brands are actually using Mass Holdings, our Sri Lankan products, my dears. How do they coordinate everything? They are using SEP software. What SEP does for Mass Holdings, for the manufacturing, It will track which factory making which order, which materials needed, what are the production schedules. For manufacturing, it is connecting as well as the inventory, how much fabric in each factory needed, how many buttons, zips, threads needed, when to reorder it. Inventory management, human resource management, 80,000 people record, employee records, salaries, attendance, leaves, EPF deduction, their salary advances, their festival, you know, advances, their training records, everything. Let's talk about finance department, how this SEP ERP will happen. All five expenses and income is recorded. Profit or loss for each factory, tax calculation. Let's talk about supply chain. It will track the shipments worldwide. It knows the delivery schedules, the customer's orders, all connected in one system. So that is SEP ERP. So my dears, it will cost you like we cannot imagine like as normal people. Implementing a SEP, my dears, it will cost 100 million to 500 million. But for a huge company like Mass Holding, it's worth it for their investment. Right? No, these softwares only in servers, no. It's actually installed in the servers, but you can install this SAP ERP in the normal client computers and you can use the login and password. You can access your restricted level of access. Otherwise, how can a finance department will enter? How can the human resource people will enter the record? So you can install it in the client computers also. Let's say, my dears, Nike is an international brand, no? Right? So Nike places order. Let's say Nike said we need 10,000 sports, let's say sports denims, and we need the delivery to USA in 30 days. That is their order. And now the SEP systems immediately checks which factory has the capacity. It will check the material availability. It will calculate the production time. It will schedule the manufacturing. It will arrange the shipping. It will update everyone involved. All in minutes, my dears. Before SEP, the coordination took days. That is very famous. SEP is very famous enterprise systems, ERP system. As well as the major provider is Oracle. You must heard about it. Most of the companies, if you work for a foreign clients and foreign companies like BPO, business process outsourcing companies, so they are using the Oracle software. Oracle is a company name, but they are having a lot of softwares. What is Oracle? It's an American company. It's not a German company. SEP is a German company, but Oracle is an American company. They are very famous for their database softwares. They are also making enterprise software applications like ERP. They are the major competitors to the SEP system. Normally, Oracle is used by banks in Sri Lanka. Some large corporation, even government departments are using this Oracle. Let's say Bank of Ceylon, my dears, they use the Oracle database to store, let's say, 10 million customer accounts, all the transaction history, the loan records, fixed deposit information, employee records, everything is in the Oracle database. Why? Extremely reliable. They can handle huge data volumes, very secure. It's tested for decades of times, right? So those are the major providers of these enterprise software application. It means ERP software application. So additional components are some middleware software, right? So there are people in the middleware. There are some additional components. It's like, middleware means the software in the middle. So it will connect some different software systems so they can talk each other. That is the middleware software, my dears. Imagine it's like, in the keels, they have the system A. The system A is installed in 2005. So it is all about sales and billing system. Let's say system B, it's about inventory management. It is installed in 2010. Let's say there is another system C, it's for online shopping website. It is installed in 2020. The problem is these three systems made by different companies at a different times. They don't understand each other. So now, my dear, this system A speaks, let's say a language A. As a system B speaks a language B, system C speaks a language C. Like three people speaking in singular, Tamil and English, they can't communicate. They don't know other language. Now, the middleware softwares, it is the solution for like that problem. So middleware is like a translator between all three systems, right? Let's say when customers order something online, right? The customer order on the Keels website, as I said earlier, they selected items like let's say 1 liter milk, 2 kilogram rice, 1 kilogram sugar, and it will attend to the cart and make the payment, right? So that's a system A, no billing system, no. So let's say what happened in the behind the scenes. There are some middleware softwares. The online system, it will receive the order, right? As well as the middleware systems, it will translate the order to the system B, to the inventory systems, right? The system B checks, okay, do we have the stock? And let's say the step 4 is system B will respond, yes, the stock available. And again, the middleware softwares, it will translate to the system A again, because the systems individually they can't talk, but the individual these middleware softwares between these, it will connect those softwares. So IBM and Oracle are providing these middleware softwares. So they are providing some integration facilities for companies existing application systems, right? So we need some middleware for some softwares to work together if we are using other people's or different systems in different periods, like that. Okay. I hope so you got a very good understanding and got the main point about this, right? So now let's move to the purpose, right? The purpose of the enterprise application software as a important component of overall IT infrastructure, because to keep connected all our hardwares and software, the database management for the entire business organization, it's an important component. As well, it enables the integration across enterprise systems, right? You can integrate, you can connect, right? As I mentioned earlier, they are providing integration, even though you're using SAP system, Oracle system, they can provide some integration. So that's the major component, enterprise software application. And let's talk about the data management and storage, right? Data management and storage. What this means? That's the another one. We have to store the data. No? We have to store the data as well as we have to manage it. So I think, my dears, the time's up actually. And let's talk about from this fourth element in our next session. Okay. So see all of you in the next session. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.